Hey, good Monday morning, everybody. Meteorologist Brad Panovich back from a quick vacation for the 4th of July. We've had a lot of hot and humid weather, and that pattern is not changing, folks. The one thing that's going to be a little bit different this week is maybe just a hair cooler because we're going to see a lot more clouds and showers develop late in the day. And that should keep temperatures from the mid 90s, maybe closer to about 90 degrees. And also the potential for tropical development. Now, you probably heard about this for the last couple of days. There's an upper level system here over Georgia right now, which is dropping south. And once it gets over these warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico, it's going to fester down there and it's going to form a weak tropical system. Now, it could become Barry, which would be a tropical storm or a tropical depression, but the real concern here isn't so much about wind or surge. Like it is with all tropical systems, the concern is going to be heavy rain. And we're going to see some heavy rain here as well, but likely not directly associated with the tropical system. So here's a look at the area of concern. You see the area in red? Here's our disturbance. It's right here over Georgia, dropping down here. So this red area means there's an 80% chance of tropical development in the next 5 days. Now, that's a big impact for the coastal sections of the Gulf Coast. But for us, we've got such a trophy kind of setup. And what I mean by that is there's so much moisture and upper level low pressure that we're going to see a lot of showers and thunderstorms as well. That might not be directly associated with what's going on at the coast. So let me show you real quickly what this looks like. And I'm going to show you the short range NAM model. And this is kind of a messy looking product here, but what this is showing spin in the atmosphere. And our spin you can see in the middle of the screen. Watch that drop south and move into the Gulf of Mexico and start to really spin down there. But notice over the Carolinas, another little area of low pressure forms in the upper levels and spins over us. So for the middle of the week, we're likely going to see some pretty wet weather with this, not directly associated with our tropical system. So while we're seeing a little bit of both, we're probably going to get more of an impact from this system up here that's passing over us. So let's get into the details of this. This is a look at the disturbance. I'm going to put all the models on here right now. And again, you can see they're kind of all over the place because they're not really running a ton of them on there. Some are moving down to the Gulf Coast. Some are moving to the east. That's a sign that it's a slow moving system. So let's take a look at what's going to happen later today with this system as well as the moisture that's going to form over the Carolinas. All right, let's look at the short range forecast here. So we've got this stalled front to our north and these weak areas of low pressure. So I'm going to go over the Carolinas and watch what happens as we go into the afternoon hours. Kind of like clockwork, right around 4, 5, 6 o'clock, we're going to see scattered showers and thunderstorms. They'll be very scattered again, but slow movers and heavy downpours. Now, as we go into the overnight hours, they don't really dissipate. And that's the thing about this pattern. It's so warm and humid and tropical in nature. These might linger into the overnight hours like they did last night, and you can see the rain lingering until tomorrow morning. Now, at the same time, our area of low pressure over Georgia is dropping to the south, and we're going to see some development down there. But I'm going to kind of widen this out so you can see both areas as we go through tomorrow. You see the storms developing around us, some to the south, but look what's going on down along the Florida Panhandle. This is our system trying to kind of reform over the Gulf of Mexico right there as we go towards Wednesday. So we're only going on about 60 hours here. So we're getting towards Wednesday morning. And you can see the mess developing down over the Gulf Coast. So that's our tropical disturbance. At the same time, over us here in the Carolinas, we've got another disturbance that's likely going to kick off some showers and storms for us. So let me kind of switch products here, and we'll show you what's going to happen longer range as we go out into the future. So I'm going to show you the European model here to kind of show you how things unfold just from a wider perspective. And a couple things you notice as we go through today and tomorrow. You see the showery pattern all over the southeast. So everybody's going to get at least a chance of rain here in the next couple of days. But as we go towards Wednesday is when we start to see this thing emerge in the Gulf of Mexico. I'm going to stop this Wednesday morning right about there. You could see our disturbance down here just south of Panama City, Mobile, somewhere in here. It's very loosely organized at this point. And really, this is not probably going to be a big wind maker, though you never know when it gets over the warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico. Rain is the biggest concern with this system, and you can see it pushing across the northern Gulf Coast. Now, this is the deterministic model, so I wouldn't count on it being in any specific spot. This is why this general area needs to be watched, because the low could form there, could form there, could form here, could form here. So we just know in this general area we're going to see that thing form. Also notice at the same time that the showery pattern over the Carolinas. So while all the talk will be about this thing in the Gulf of Mexico, for us in the Carolinas, we're still going to be wet because we've got tons of tropical moisture and a stalled front, which is going to keep things very active. But you can see that thing over the Gulf kind of drifting west towards Texas and maybe strengthening. If it's that far out there, it could get strong. But it's something to keep an eye on. You live on the Gulf Coast. This is definitely a flood threat right now, and potentially if it gets stronger, it could become more of a wind and surge threat. But you can see the wet pattern. I mean, look at all the wetness here across the southeast. As we go towards the next weekend, it looks like we get far enough away from this system, and this front sags far enough to the south that we might dry out. But between now and then, that's a pretty wet pattern you're looking at. And that system moves into the middle of the country, and we'll have to see if it ever impacts us again. But you kind of get an idea how this thing's going to unfold over the next couple of days as it pushes towards us. Now, let's go back. I'm going to show you some of the rainfall totals that we could see over the next 5 days. So now we'll just focus on rainfall totals here over the next, 6 hours. Let me see real quick. I'll show you 6 hours, 12 hours, 24 hours, 48 hours, and we'll do next 5 days. So just to give you an idea on possible rainfall amounts over the next 5 days, notice that front, which is to our north, sagging to the south, looks to really focus some of the heavier rainfall amounts to our south, while at the same time, we're likely going to see much heavier rain down over the Gulf Coast. And just to show you that, let me see if I'm going to scroll up here, and I'm going to go, let's go to the south. And you can see the Gulf Coast definitely has a bigger threat for heavier rain down in that area. So just to give you a general idea, we'll do the whole U.S. here. I'm going to go back to, wrong part of the world. Let's see the United States. Now I'll scroll down to the middle of the country here. We got some big regions. Eastern U.S. So there's a look at the Eastern U.S. And you can kind of see really wet pattern on the Carolinas because of the stalled front, but then look at the Gulf of Mexico. That's where we'll see that tropical system. So something to keep an eye on. Not a big deal for the Carolinas right now. Our bigger issue is going to be locally with the stalled front and the tropical rains, and boy, the humidity. Dew points this morning again in the mid-70s. So air you can wear today through the rest of the week. I'll have updates obviously throughout the week. If anything changes, you can count on me. I'll post them here on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.